everyone, this is Sandy Creating the Heart, and today I'm going to make a couple of summary cards. I'm going to be using Scrap Diva Designs pineapple, I think it's a shaker die, and I'm also using Picket Fence's their Flamingo Summer Deer background stamp. So I started off trying to use this glue, but this glue is just a pain in the behind. It will not come out, and it's just really hard to squeeze, and I just am not a fan. So I switched to my Barely Arts glue. So what I did to the front of that card front is I inked in Peach Flamingo, I forget what the yellow one was, and then in this Twisted Citron, and then I stamped it with Versamark ink and sprinkled some white embossing powder over that, and then heat embossed it to give me, you know, this kind of subtle background. And I just really love this stamp set for that. It's really kind of fun, and there's a little bit of a learning curve with it because it kind of connects. You stamp it once, and then if you can kind of match it up and go again. And it took me a while to figure that out. So trial and error. Anyway, this is an A2 size card. I just mounted that panel on some black cardstock. You see a peak of white showing through, which I'm totally fine with. And then I've got my pineapple. I did not do a shaker. I just did a regular pineapple, which I'm fine with. And I just put that on foam. And then I have a sentiment that says TGIS, thank goodness it's summer. And that is from another Picket Fence's Picket Fence Studio stamp set. They have a little strawberry watermelon girl, sorry. And I use the sentiment from that because I actually colored her out. I'm going to make a card with her eventually, but it hasn't happened yet. So anyway, that is the first card. The second one is going to be a shaker, and I'm building it kind of from the bottom up. So you haven't seen the front yet, but I am building it from this way because it's a circle, and just kind of the way that it is, it's just really hard. But what I did was I inked first, and then I stamped with black. So I used similar colors to that first card, and then I just inked in black over the inked background. And I really like how that came out. That black just came out really nicely. And I am using some, what do you call these? Some sequins from the Magical Mixery store called Mayflowers, and they're on Etsy. And so I usually buy, like, I'll go on there and I'll just buy a whole bunch. So I have actually a ton of sequins to get through. I do love making shaker cards. I always probably make at least a couple a month. So once I've put my mix in that well that I created with my foam tape, I then put my black cardstock on top of it. And so sometimes it's just easier to build it this way, and so that way I'm not struggling to try and, you know, round up those sequins flying all over the place. And I'm using score tape on the back of here. I just feel like it's going to be easier to work with since I've got sequins in that front side than trying to wrangle glue. So I just did some strips of double-sided tape. In this case it's score tape because that's what I have on my desk. And so I'm just going to place that on my A2 size card base. And so once you've got it on there, then I can really press down to make sure that it's all contained. So the next thing is my letters. So my letters, I cut them out using, I think it's called Henry's alphabet from Lawn Fawn. And this is just a really fun alphabet. It's a nice size. I have a ton of alphabets actually that I need to pull out and try and use because, you know, I should. But this one I keep behind my desk, and I just use it whenever I need some words. But I'm spelling out Aloha, and I decided to just do a little bit of white gel pen, just a little bit, nothing too crazy, just some dots and lines. just to give it a little bit of something so it doesn't kind of disappear onto my card front. And so it's kind of hard to see because of course I've got black on black. Sorry about that, I should have brought my other thing out to show you guys, but I forgot that my lettering was black. So, but the aloha is going to be my sentiment, and you know, it is true there are no flamingos in Hawaii. At least I didn't see any when I was in Hawaii. But it gives me that tropical feel of flamingos. I don't know. Who cares? I just did the aloha because I like it. So, and so I'm going to glue those letters down using my Barely Arts glue, which never lets me down. So, unlike so many other glues in my past and in my future, I don't know about my future, but I will continue to use this Barely Arts glue. I actually have a larger one. I might pull that one out for some of the bigger jobs because this Nuva Arts is just hurting my hand and I'm struggling with it. Excuse me. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep putting those letters down, and this is a very simple technique, I think, for this card. Just inking and then going ahead and using black on top of it, like stamping in black. Because what's nice about it is then you don't have to fuss with embossing powder and all of that, and I think it just has a nice look. I did use my VersaFine black, which is like my new favorite ink, for anything that I don't have to color because it will smear. And so if I need to do any coloring, I use my Memento black. But if I need it for sentiments, it's wonderful for that. So here's my card